In the year 1902, a photograph was taken. It shows a wedding. The bride stands in white. The groom stands beside her. Family members surround them. Everyone wears their finest clothes. The setting is formal. The poses are stiff. This is how photographs looked back then. People did not smile much in old photos. They stood very still. The camera needed time to capture the image. Movement would blur the picture, so everyone stayed frozen. They look serious. But serious does not mean sad. At first glance, this looks like a happy day. It looks like a celebration. It looks like the start of something good. But something is wrong in this photograph. Something is hidden in plain sight. The clue is in the hands. Look closely at the hands of the people in this picture. Jennifer stands in her wedding dress. She is the bride. Her hand should rest on her new husband's arm. That was the custom. That was how brides posed. But her hand does not touch him. Instead, her hand is clenched into a fist. Her knuckles are white. The fist is tight. It sits at her side. This is not a relaxed pose. This is not the hand of a happy bride. This is tension. This is anger. This is something being held back. Now look at the groom. His name is John. He stands beside Jennifer. His hand should be on her. His hand should show connection. His hand should show love. But it does not. His hand rests on something else. It rests on the arm of a chair. The chair belongs to the father of the bride. The man in the chair is Alistair Blackwood. He is the patriarch of this family. He is wealthy. He is powerful. He sits like a king. And John's hand rests on the arm of his chair, not on his wife. On the chair, on the symbol of power. These are not accidents. In 1902, photographs cost money. They took time. A professional photographer was hired. His name was Robert Henderson. He was known for his skill. He arranged every detail. He positioned every person. Nothing was left to chance. Every hand was placed with purpose. Every pose was checked. So when Jennifer clenched her fist, someone noticed. When John placed his hand on that chair, it was seen. But the photograph was taken anyway. The shutter clicked. The image was captured. And for over a century, this photograph sat in an archive. It waited. It held its secret. The photograph was rediscovered by Dr. Evelyn Reed. She is a genealogist. She studies family history. Jennifer was her great-great-grandaunt. Evelyn was sorting through old family papers. She found boxes of documents. She found letters. She found this photograph. At first, she smiled. She saw a beautiful old wedding picture. She saw elegant clothes. She saw her ancestors. But then she looked closer. She saw the hands. She saw Jennifer's fist. She saw John's hand on the chair. And she knew something was wrong. She knew there was a story here. She decided to find out what it was. Evelyn took the photograph to an expert. She visited Mr. Samuel Finch. He is an archivist. He works with old documents and photographs. He knows how to verify authenticity. He examined the photograph carefully. He checked the paper. He checked the printing method. He confirmed it was real. It was taken in 1902. The photographer's mark was on the back. Robert Henderson's studio. Samuel told Evelyn that Henderson was respected. He was careful. He was professional. His portraits were not random. They were planned. So these hand positions were deliberate. They meant something. Evelyn needed to understand the family. She needed to know who these people were. Alistair Blackwood was the father. He was an industrialist. He owned factories. He employed hundreds of workers. He was rich. He was important. His wife was Linda Blackwood. She was the mother. She was a society figure. She hosted parties. She knew everyone who mattered. Jennifer was their only daughter. She was quiet. She was obedient. She did what she was told. John Croft was the groom. His family had money too, but they were newer money. They were ambitious. They wanted more power. This marriage was announced in newspapers. It was called an alliance. It was called a merger of two great families. But Evelyn wanted more than newspaper reports. She wanted the truth. She went back to the family archive. She searched more carefully. She found a box that had been overlooked. Inside were letters. They were Jennifer's letters. They were tied with a ribbon. They were hidden away. Evelyn opened them. She read them, and she found the real story. Jennifer had been in love, but not with John. She loved a man named Thomas Cole. He was not wealthy. He was not from a good family. He worked with his hands. He was a carpenter. Jennifer's letters to him were full of feeling. She wrote about happiness. She wrote about hope. She wrote about a future together. But then the letters changed. The tone became desperate. She wrote that her father would not allow it. She wrote that she had no choice. She wrote that she must marry John instead. The final letter was heartbreaking. She told Thomas goodbye. She told him to forget her. She told him she would do her duty. Now the clenched fist made sense. Jennifer was not celebrating in that photograph. She was suffering. She was trapped. She stood beside a man she did not love. She wore a white dress she did not want. She smiled for a camera when her heart was breaking. The fist was her only protest. It was silent. It was small. But it was there. The camera caught it. And now, more than a century later, someone finally understood. But what about John's hand? Why was it on the chair? Evelyn needed to understand his side of the story. She contacted Professor Ann Gilbert. Ann is a local historian. She knows the history of the area. She knows the business history. She knows the families. Evelyn asked about the Blackwood family in 1902. Ann had information. She had been researching the same period. She told Evelyn something important. In 1902, Alistair Blackwood's company was in trouble. There was a threat. Another company wanted to take over. They wanted to buy him out. They wanted his factories. Alistair needed help. He needed allies. He needed capital. The marriage to John was part of a plan. John's family would invest. They would join forces. Together, they would fight off the takeover. The marriage was a business deal. Jennifer was the price. Evelyn went deeper. She wanted to know about the photographer. She found records from Robert Henderson's studio. The studio had closed in 1920. But the records were saved. They were donated to a museum. Evelyn requested access. She found Henderson's appointment books. She found notes from his assistant. The assistant's name was Arthur Mills. Arthur kept a journal. He wrote about his days at the studio. Evelyn found the entry from the wedding day. Arthur wrote that the wedding party arrived on time. He wrote that the mood was tense. He wrote that Alistair was controlling. He directed every pose. He told people where to stand. He was harsh. Jennifer was pale. Arthur wrote that she looked sorrowful. He wrote that she seemed like she wanted to disappear. John was confident. He was calm. He acted like he owned the place. Arthur noted all of this. He found it strange. Weddings were usually happy. This one was not. Now Evelyn understood Jennifer's pain, but she still did not understand John's hand. Why the chair? What did it mean? She thought about it. The chair was Alistair's seat. It was the seat of power. It was where the patriarch sat. John's hand was claiming it. But claiming it for what? Evelyn decided to search business records. She went to the county archive. She looked for records of the Blackwood Company. She looked for records from the years after 1902. She wanted to see what happened next. What she found was shocking. In 1903, just 1 year after the wedding, there were changes. John Croft joined the board of the company. He was given shares as part of the marriage agreement. He was given a position. He was given power. At first, he seemed helpful. He worked with Alistair. They made decisions together. But then things changed. In 1904, there was a vote. John voted against Alistair. He sided with other board members. They wanted to change direction. They wanted to expand. Alistair thought it was too risky. He was overruled. By 1905, John had more votes. He had convinced others. He had made alliances. He pushed Alistair out of day-to-day control. Alistair was still the founder, but he no longer ran the company. John ran it now. The hand on the chair was not respect. It was a claim. John was saying, "This will be mine." He was saying, "I will take your place." He knew it on the wedding day. The photograph captured his ambition. It captured his plan. He married Jennifer to get power. He used her to get access. He used the marriage to destroy her father. It was calculated. It was cold. It was a betrayal hidden behind a smile. Evelyn kept researching. She wanted to know what happened to everyone. She found more records. She found newspaper articles. She found obituaries. She found census data. She pieced together their lives after that photograph. Jennifer lived a long life, but it was not a happy one. She and John had 3 children. She raised them. She attended social events. She did her duty. But those who knew her said she was always sad. She was always distant. She never seemed truly present. She died in 1954. Her obituary called her a devoted wife and mother. But it did not say she was happy. John became very successful. He expanded the Blackwood Company. He made it even bigger. He became wealthy beyond measure. He was known as a ruthless businessman. He was respected. He was feared. He never showed regret. He never looked back. He died in 1960. He was celebrated as a titan of industry. The photograph was displayed at his funeral. People looked at it and saw a successful man at the start of his rise. They did not see what it really showed. Alistair did not last long after losing his company. He became depressed. He withdrew from public life. He died in 1908. He was only 60 years old. The company he built carried on without him. His name stayed on it, but his control was gone. His legacy was taken. He died a broken man. Linda, the mother, outlived her husband. She lived until 1920. She saw the company thrive under John. She saw her daughter's unhappy marriage. She never spoke publicly about any of it. She kept up appearances. She played her role. She died quietly. Thomas Cole, the man Jennifer loved, moved away. Evelyn found a record of him in another state. He married someone else in 1905. He had a family. He lived a simple life. He died in 1945. There is no evidence he ever knew what happened to Jennifer after she broke off their relationship. He lived his life. He found happiness elsewhere. He never knew she thought of him. Robert Henderson. The photographer continued his work. His studio was successful for many years. He photographed hundreds of families. He captured thousands of moments. He died in 1925. His work is now studied by historians. This photograph is considered one of his most interesting, not because of its composition, but because of what it reveals. Arthur Mills, the assistant, left the photography business. He became a teacher. He taught art. He lived a long life. He died in 1965. His journal was found by his grandchildren. They donated it to a museum. That is how Evelyn found his notes about the wedding. The photograph tells a complete story. It shows a moment in time, but that moment contains so much more. It contains Jennifer's heartbreak. It contains John's ambition. It contains Alistair's desperation. It contains Linda's compliance. It contains the end of one era and the beginning of another. It shows how families make deals. It shows how women were used. It shows how power changes hands. It shows that even on a day meant for joy, there can be pain. It shows that truth hides in small details. A clenched fist, a hand on a chair. These tiny gestures tell the real story. Photographs are supposed to capture happiness. Wedding photographs especially. They are supposed to show love. They are supposed to show hope. They are supposed to show new beginnings. But this photograph shows something different. It shows an ending. It shows a sacrifice. It shows a theft. And it shows that sometimes, even when people smile, even when they dress in their finest clothes, even when they pose for a perfect picture, the truth leaks out. It appears in the hands. It appears in the small things people do without thinking. Or maybe they do think about it. Maybe Jennifer clenched her fist on purpose. Maybe she wanted someone to see. Maybe John placed his hand on that chair deliberately. Maybe he wanted to send a message. Maybe the photograph was meant to be a record of this moment for a reason. For over 100 years, this photograph sat in a box. It was forgotten. The people in it died. Their children died. Their grandchildren grew old. The world changed completely. The year 1902 became ancient history. But the photograph remained. And when someone finally looked closely, when someone finally asked questions, when someone finally cared enough to investigate, the truth emerged. The hands revealed everything. The clenched fist spoke of stolen love and forced choices. The hand on the chair spoke of calculated ambition and cold betrayal. This is not a unique story. Many families have photographs like this. Many families have hidden truths. Many brides have stood in white dresses they did not want to wear. Many grooms have married for reasons that had nothing to do with love. Many parents have made choices for their children that served business interests rather than happiness. The difference is that this photograph captured it. The photographer's skill, whether intentional or not, preserved the evidence. The camera saw what words would never say. The image held the secret until someone was ready to decode it. Evelyn has now shared this story with her family. Some were shocked. Some were sad. Some said they always knew there was something tragic about Jennifer. Family stories had hinted at it. But no one knew the details. No one knew about Thomas. No one knew about the business coup. The photograph has been digitized. It has been preserved. It hangs now in Evelyn's office. She looks at it often. She thinks about Jennifer. She thinks about how much has changed. She thinks about how much has stayed the same. She is grateful that she can tell this story. She is grateful that Jennifer's silent protest can finally be understood. The photograph is more than an image. It is evidence. It is testimony. It is a historical document. It shows how society worked in 1902. It shows the roles people played. It shows the rules they followed. It shows the costs of those rules. Jennifer paid with her happiness. Alistair paid with his life's work. John gained everything and lost nothing. That was how the world worked then. The photograph does not lie. It simply shows what was, and what was often cruel.